Hello, and welcome to the Channel 6 11 o'clock news. We are joyous to have you tuning into our program. The top stories today are dated from the last decade, and so on each story you'll see the corresponding date of the story here. Understand? Okay. Now let's move on to the stories of today. Here for the first one is my co-anchor, Jake Woods.
Thank you. First,
You're welcome.
we go back to 1973. Today, the rearmed Syrians and Egyptians launched surprise attacks on Israel. Details are scarce at this moment, but our sources indicate that the region is most likely to regain lost territory lost in the 6 Days War. The president at this moment is sending Secretary of State Kissinger to Moscow to try to restrain the Soviets from continuing to arm the aggressors in Israel. Some new details have just arrived. President Nixon has recently ordered an airlift of nearly $2 billion to aid the Israelis in an effort to unbury them from their inevitable grave.
It is now October 1973. Today, America's attempts to aid Israel have been thwarted by their oil-rich neighbors. Many of the Arab nations, sources say, have been placed on an embargo on oil for our country. This may mean less driving and a colder winter for most. I beg you, fellow Americans, conserve, conserve, conserve.
It is now April 29th, 1975. We now take you live to SFO to our
San Francisco Airport.
To our on-site reporter, Sam Pingree. He is there waiting for some of the last Vietnam soldiers to arrive home.
I'm here live about to talk to one of the final evacuated American soldiers from the war front in Vietnam. As we know, the war was not lost, though we have left the Vietnamese to fend for themselves. It is very unlikely for them to find the capability to defeat the North Vietnamese. Fortunately, over 500,000 southern Vietnamese people were rescued from their country and taken here. Hey,
Hello?
how's it going, soldier?
Good.
Can you tell me a little bit what it was like on the final days of the war front?
Well,
Now.
it was awful. All the days have meshed together though, and so I'm having a bit of difficulty remembering any details from the last few days. I can assure you though, you wouldn't have liked it out there. I'm glad to be back.
I probably wouldn't have liked it. I'm glad you went.
Well, I myself was not fighting alongside many of them, but I guess it's not much of a big deal to me. Again, I'm just happy to be back.
Well, I thank you for your service, soldier. Back to you, Nick and Jake.
Very interesting. Now, don't you touch that remote. We'll be right back after these messages.
Hi, my name is Sally, and I've always wanted to play sports like my big brother Charlie. But before recently, my mom says that no girls were allowed to play sports. But now that us girls can, I'm inviting you all to play softball with us this spring. Sign up for Little League Girls Softball now. It's not only America's game, it's now America's way.
Welcome back. We now travel to 1982. We have some unfortunate news today. The Equal Rights Amendment has just failed.
Hey, you want to know a funny joke? Women's rights.
For many women, this marks a day of failure. The ERA declared equality of rights under the law shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. These hopes that the ERA would become the law of the land have been squandered, only 3 states short of success. We now take you once again to our on-site reporter, who has an interview with anti-feminist and leader of the Stop ERA campaign, Phyllis Schlafly.
What a stupid name.
Miss Savlet, come here. We need to talk. Can you tell me what it is you don't like so much about the ERA?
Well, there are many things. Most importantly, I believe that if the amendment were to pass, which is so joyously hasn't, it would be undermining the American family by violating the right of a wife to be supported by her husband, by making women serve in combat, and legalizing homosexual marriages.
Well, what's so wrong with those things?
Our children need to have support from a loving mother, whose father will provide him throughout his life. If this bill were to pass, all our old ideas and ways of life will fall. I'm overjoyed that this amendment will not plague us.
Yeah, Well, thanks, Phyllis. Back to you guys.
Hello. We now travel to August 8, 1974.
You all remember the Watergate scandal? Damn. Well, today, President Richard Nixon resigned. It all started on June 17, 1972, when 5 men were arrested in the Watergate apartment office complex trying to plant electronic bugs in the Democratic Party's headquarters. These men were found out to be working towards the re-election of Nixon. Nixon was later thought to have been involved in the break-in and using the CIA to cover up the scandal. Nixon was linked through tape recordings that showed his ordering of the cover-up.
At first, he refused to give up the tapes, saying he was withholding irrelevant information. They later forced him to give up the tapes, and today President Nixon resigned, as we know.
Hello, America. Recent crises have destroyed your accessibility to oil and other important necessities that keep your life flourishing. But fret no longer, friends, for my company and I have come across new, glorious oil right here in the Golden Country. We would like to extend that oil to you, righteous citizens. Dusty, come here, dog. Good. For only a minimal fee of $200 a barrel, you can buy as much oil as you need. This just in, President Ford has just taken the oath of office. Much of the public believes that he has the mental capacity of Chunk from the Goonies. Seems we're getting a story. Breaking news, scientists have just genetically linked Chunk from the Goonies to President Ford. We have another story coming in. Even more breaking news. President Ford is Chunk from the Goonies. Here's David Frost with an interview with Nixon just after the scandal.
And I said, I'm sorry. I just hope I haven't let you down. Well, when I said, I just hope I haven't let you down, that said it all. I had. I let down my friends. I let down the country. I let down our system of government, dreams of all those young people that ought to get into government but will think it's all too corrupt and the rest. Most of all, I let down an opportunity that I would have had for 2.5 more years to proceed on great projects and programs for building a lasting peace, which has been my dream, as you know, from our first interview in 1968, before I had any thought I might even win that year. I didn't tell you I didn't think I might win, but I wasn't sure. Yep, I let the American people down.
Wow, it's going great. And that concludes our show for the night. We're going to end it with a brief message from our sponsors.
マーベラーからレオパルドンにチェンジ。行くぞマシンベル。スパイダーマンが送る完全変化デラックス超合金レオパルドンポピーより発売中。